Carefully at these three countries. What do they have in common?
They're the same shape.
They're the same shape, that's why they're grouped. What else do they have in common? These are pre-development nations. Whenever you have to discuss development, if somebody wants to talk about what we used to call the third world, the least developed nation, think Afghanistan. Very, very, very few people make it to be grandparents. Look, your chances of making it to 20s are roughly 50-50 after you're born. That's bad. That of children 0 to 5, half of them will die before they reach their 20s. That's bad. And then, half of them will die before they reach their 50s. That's bad. You don't want to live in a place like that. You wonder why you hear about warfare in Afghanistan? You wonder why you hear about recruitment for terrorist organizations in Afghanistan? You think there's like a single happy person in a country shaped like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably
A couple happy people.
So maybe we exaggerate, there might be a lunatic. But
One crazy person.
that's not my argument. Of course there's one happy person.
Then you
Go on! Okay. But what I mean to say is, aside from the fact that Afghanistan has little pockets of successful modern development with like good education and cell phones and Gucci, the rest of the country is really grim. Very low survivorship, very low life expectancy. You look at Swaziland and Zimbabwe, very similar. But Zimbabwe has a special thing going on. Look at how many people in Zimbabwe make it to be 20. It's like 20 is not that risky. You see what I'm saying? From birth to 20, that's not that risky. But hold it up really high so the audience can see. Which age group isn't making it so well? Where do you see the big drop-off?
21 to 25.
Yeah, mid-20s and 30s. In other words, one AIDS case after the onset of sexual behavior, 10 to 15 years after the middle, late teens, early 20s. That's an AIDS country right there. That's like a really, really clear-cut AIDS country. I believe that's also the case with Swaziland, but I'm not entirely sure about that. If it wasn't you, I'd say no, Eli. Are you aware I have a class and he's here to learn?
No.
Eli. Get out of here. Group number 2.
Oh, okay.
That is a very large group.
So make sure that everybody can see all of yours in the front, since half the class is standing around me. You're part of this lesson. So make sure you see the ones that are up here. And students, what do all of these have in common? What? I gotta put East Timor somewhere else. You don't belong here.
What the heck?
Get out of here. You had one job.
He must have not been there that day or something. Because
You see how immediately pointing the finger at you? How many of you think it's Gabby's fault?
Either.
Yeah.
Never scissors. Who's the actual one?
There can only be one.
So I think I'm going to move some more out of there, though. Wait, come back before you leave. Before you leave.
What other country are we missing?
Are we missing?
Everybody in the audience, look at East Timor. They are perhaps early into development. Technically, in East Timor, we have a very special case. East Timor might belong better in group number 4.
Are we sure
And
it's
what
not?
do you have? Yeah, you can hold on to that. I'll say that he's good. But yeah, East Timor, early development / emigration. If you notice the early working years are missing, that's because their economy sucks. They go someplace else to work. But thank you, it's kind of a special case. You guys can do it. Now, everybody look at Australia. Australia high. Iceland high. Nobody in the United States, huh? Nobody in the U.S. today? Well, we got 2 East Timors. What a rip-off. This is not a problem. You're cool. It's okay. I'm really not worried about it. I'm having a really good time watching you squirm, though. we should have milked the suspense a little further. Alright, so if you could please look at Iceland, Australia, and it's too bad we don't have the United States because it looks a lot like them. These are the pickle countries. They're extremely stable. Australia, Iceland, and it's not up here, but the United States looks almost exactly like Iceland. Those are very stable economies. Those are post-developed. You'll notice Australia, like the United States, technically is constricting a little bit. Their population is dropping a little bit. You can see, hold up Japan, that Japan, a super stable nation, is also constricting. Hold up Russia, another very old, stabilized nation. But notice something special about Russia. Everybody in the front, try to get to see it. What's weird about Russia?
More women.
There's like young males and then old women.
Bunch of commies.
So there's 2 separate things you'll notice. First of all, it's a pretty deeply curvy nation. Sort of like Denmark, sort of like Japan. But something special about Russia. Will you go to divide it in the middle? Yeah, like that. Other way.
Jose,
Other way.
What?
I feel like mine goes with them.
Too bad. Which nation is it?
It's kind of small at the bottom.
We'll talk about that one in particular, but you're right. And now fold it at 50s. Bingo. Show them the boys. Everybody look! Show them the men? Yeah. Whoa. Look at the old man. Now show them old women.
Okay, no, I'm gonna get this.
You're the worst person ever.
One job.
He did.
Just hold it.
Should have me hold full.
Old men. I know you're right. Old men. Old women.
Black woman.
Old men.
Vodka.
Old women.
No, it's well.
Look. Old men. Old women. No, for them. Old women. Old men. Anybody know what's going on in Russia?
Because they all died.
Nobody knows.
There are 2 issues. Issue number 1 is warfare, and we'll come back to that. So we can come back to number 5, please. Okay. But the other issue, somebody said it. They thought they were kidding. Vodka. What? Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Well, it does make sense.
Now, please hold up Algeria. Please hold up Brazil. Please hold up Iran and Argentina. Hi. These are young developed nations. These are young developed nations. You can see Algeria, pretty recent development. By the way, Algeria has shrinkage at the bottom, mainly because a lot of the adults aren't having their kids there, but they're having a little resurgence now, so it's filling in. Notice Iran, and notice Brazil. These are young developing nations. That's stage 3. See stage 3? How you get decreasing birth rates and stabilizing populations? And hold up Argentina really high. That's my country. That's where I come from. You ask the government of Argentina, and they'll say, oh yeah, we're a most developed nation, for sure. And you ask the average Argentinian, and they'll tell you, oh no, we're a least developed nation, for sure. And that's because Argentina just can't figure it out. They just can't get through the whole, like, now we're definitely a modernized economy. They have a huge rural agrarian society with a very small, super ritzy modern society. You talk about all these? China's amazing. Look at how dramatic their population controls were during the Green Revolution. People in their 30s. That's pretty remarkable, right? That's the hardcore one-child policy. That decline from 50 to 45 to 40 to 35 to 30, that decline, that's the one-child policy when it was really gnarly. Okay, children, beat it.
Yeah.
Next, group number 3.
Why didn't you just order them in the order of the graph?
What? Group number 3.
Which one is group number 3? I'm just like messing with everyone. He doesn't know 1, 2, 3.
Group number 3 is Bangladesh and Botswana.
It's a
Which one you got?
I have
Who's got Bangladesh? Cool.
It's a pretty mad. I mean, yeah. Red flag.
I want to do Bangladesh first. What would you say about a country that looks like that?
unstable.
What would you say about a country that looks like that?
Undeveloped.
It's what?
Undeveloped.
Less developed nation, right? So what do you think happened there?
Started to develop and then stopped.
Right, that's a demographic trap. That's that one. That one, the demographic trap, up there. Upper right corner of that, yeah, right there, thank you. Demographic trap. If the person in front of you is wearing a cheap white t-shirt, flip their tag over and see if you can figure out where their shirt was made. Almost any cheap t-shirt. I'll bet you money if you're wearing a really cheap t-shirt, it was made in Bangladesh.
This $80 jacket was made in China. Do you see the tag in your shirt?
Made in Bangladesh.
No,
How do you like them apples?
Jose, this $80 jacket was made in China too. So.
Maybe for 17 cents.
It literally even bought in like big letters. Made in Bangladesh.
You do?
USA.
Oh, okay.
There is a country in China. I mean, there's a city in China that's called USA, so it could still say that.
my shirt's made of
Is that a cheap white t-shirt?
It is a cheap white t-shirt.
There you go. Yeah, that's what a piece of crap, yeah. You're wearing a rag.
That was made.
Okay, look.
I bought it.
The reason your cheap white t-shirts are made in Bangladesh is this is about 10 years old. That's a workforce struggling to find work. That's a surplus of labor in a less developed nation. That's a place where there's no money around and a lot of people die to find work. The garment business has roughly a 5-year average residency before it finds the next cheapest country. Today, it's Haiti. But it was, until a couple years ago, Bangladesh. Interesting, right? Your teacher's from Haiti? Yeah. Well, there you go.
Does that have anything to do with the? It was a hurricane that hit Haiti, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Haiti's another one of
No, it was an
those.
earthquake. Oh, earthquake. Yeah.
Haiti's one of those. Well, it was a.
Tsunami caused by an earthquake.
It was exactly kind of like that. So Haiti's one of those because of natural disasters. Bangladesh is one of those. I can't remember why. Maybe natural disasters and political instability or something.
Isn't it like flooding?
Always, because they both play. Now, Botswana is an interesting example because this is, first of all, I'm waiting. The other really horrific AIDS country. Yeah, one in 5 for adults have AIDS. That also is pushing them into a demographic trap. You're about to see these kids reach reproductive age and start making a bunch of babies again, and this country's future looks really grim. A huge percentage of these people are infected with AIDS and dying. About 20% of the ones that remain are dying of AIDS. Thank you, Walsh. Group number 4.
Yes, that was alright.
Here we have East Timor and East Timor, by the way. Okay. We have Latvia, Lithuania. You were 5. Anyway, it's all good, but I meant 5. Thank you.
Wait, didn't
You're
you
doing
already
great.
go up?
Keep it up. You're doing great. Okay.
Didn't you go up?
Yeah, we'll come back.
Please hold up Albania, Latvia, and Lithuania. There are a couple different patterns here. First of all, look at how rare old men are compared to old women. That's World War II. Also vodka. I don't know if it's vodka, it's definitely alcohol. They have very low life expectancy for men compared to women, and there's a lot less of them because of warfare. But now look at people my age and their children. And for that matter, please hold up Italy and East Timor. These are countries where people leave to get a job somewhere else. Look, if you start with East Timor, young adults leave, they stop making children. Fast forward 5 years, you get a country like Albania with a discrete shrinkage in youth. Fast forward 5 years more, it's almost no place to have children. Fast forward 5 years more, welcome to the most constricted demographic on Earth, Italy. Something happened really interesting in Italy about 10 years ago, and it keeps happening. Anybody know what happened with Italy about 10 or 15 years ago? It happened to a lot of countries around Italy, too. How many years ago was it? Oh, when was the European Union? When did we start the European Union?
Like in the 90s, I thought.
90s? Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. So maybe 20 odd years ago, we launched the European Union. And as soon as we launched the European Union, anybody in Europe could get a job anywhere else in Europe with no paperwork. So all the Italians, they were like, F this. I want to go work in like Ireland. I want to go work in Spain. Old folks stuck around because they had like pretty sweet retirement stuff. Pretty cool land ownership rules in Italy. But everybody else is like, no, we're out of here. So this is what happens when your country leaves. You just leave behind all the old people. This age structure is 10 years old. So it's actually getting worse for the age brackets two below. For the two age brackets below. You're Italian, Karen? Are your great-grandparents still there? Grandparents?
No. My grandparents moved here.
Oh, lucky you. Lucky them. Yeah. Yes?
Wouldn't that make like younger people want to stay in a country like that because they're like needed? Like, and it would give them more opportunities since there's not a lot of them?
Apple A, apple B. There's all this stuff around that means you can step in and fill the roles. But when you step in and fill that role, you've got a burden of taxation.
So it's just easier to go somewhere else where it's not as...
Right. Like everybody heard what happened to the Greek economy a few years ago? That's Italy in the next decade. No big deal. Who cares? It's not America. Go! Group number 5, go to the front. You did your sexes backwards.
No, we shouldn't take Canada.
Where's that?
Easy.
Your sexes backwards. Okay. Something very interesting happens here. Remember that Russia, the old dudes? Poland's dudes and ladies are reversed. Austria's dudes and ladies are in the right place. Azerbaijan, a little less gender division, but the same. This is what happens when you get warred a lot. When people do a lot of war at you. When you get all warred up. When you get all warred up, you don't have a lot of survivors in a certain generation. So these are 3 countries where they have very low survivorship. Anybody do Armenia here? Dang. Armenia has a remarkable age structure. They got genocided. So that's kind of an amazing one. But nobody calls it a genocide because we're all trying to be friendly with Turkey because they're the only people that are nice to us in a part of the world where we got no friends. Anyway, those are cool. Beat it. What about group number 6?
6 was for right? Yeah.
Anybody ever heard that song? I think it was by the Beach Boys. Bermuda, Bahama,
Yeah.
baby, I don't what. So what are the countries?
Bermuda, Bahama.
Thank you. Yes.
I don't know.
Somebody want to Google that lyric for me?
Antigua.
What?
Antigua.
Antigua? Antigua's up here.
Solar. Is there like solar?
You can make this grouping just based on that song.
Key Largo? Somebody find me those lyrics now. Who's on it?
What's the song called?
Beach Boys lyrics. Okay. Bermuda, Bahama. Jersey. Wait, you're group 7. Get out of here.
You told me to come back.
You're lying.
No, you
He
spent
told
you.
me. Yeah. You asked for your good.
Jersey.
Wait, 2 trees?
I got paper on the first day.
How many of you played Mackenzie Bell?
Wait, did that go through?
Aruba. Hold Aruba really high.
That's one of them.
Anguilla and Antigua. Hold them all up high. Yeah. What do these countries have in common? If you level them, you'll know this.
Like the bottom, they're kind of restricted at the bottom.
Nobody's old.
Why don't you all stand right next to each other and line up to 0? Like make them touch at 0. That looks awesome. You're doing a good job.
They all have a youth holder. Oh, never mind. The one. No.
Angela, will you hold yours at the bottom
Oh,
so that Mackenzie can rub up against it there? Bingo. Okay, kids.
Expansive ages.
They're all different. They make no
Yeah, they're really expansive starting at the 30s and up. Anybody know where these are? Antigua, Anguilla, what's the other one? Andorra, Aruba? Where are these?
Are they like off the coast of like East Africa or something?
No, I don't think so.
Or wow.
Where? Where? Yeah, they're what?
Yeah.
These are all islands. Anybody know how big they are? They're all teeny little islands.
Key Largo. Montego.
You got the lyrics?
Yeah.
I just want to hear the countries.
Sing it. No.
No, just the words. Just the words. Find me the words.
Cuba.
Turn it off. What are the words? Here we go. Aruba, Jamaica, Bermuda, Bahama, Key Largo, Montego, Jamaica. Aruba, Jamaica, Bermuda, Bahama, Key Largo, Montego. Oh, Martinique. Martinique is in there. So we only had Aruba and Bahama and Bermuda. That's too bad. Yeah, what are these? What do they have in common? Yeah.
Are they really expensive around 30s because of immigration?
What kind of immigration?
Tourists.
What?
Stay there.
Tourists aren't immigrants.
Yeah.
They can immigrate. Don't worry.
By definition.
Oh, is it military?
Retirees.
What?
Retirees.
Yes. These students. You ever heard of tax shelters? Tax havens? Put your money in the Bahamas?
Oh yeah, I saw that on a show.
This is
Oh,
it.
wait, another woman.
This is it.
Oh yeah.
Now allow me to explain. Jose makes $1 gajillion. And all you liberals keep taxing me up. I want to keep my money. I earned it, damn it. So I go to one of these countries, and they go, do you have a pulse? And I say, yes. And they go, great, you are now a citizen. Here's your passport. And I take my passport, and I walk into the bank, and I say, hi, I'd like to open an account. They say, great, no fees. I'm like, cool. And then I take all of my giant American paychecks and I deposit them in this bank, where I get charged a tax rate of like 1% or some piddly little rate, which is fine. Because for a country of like 21 people, 1% of Bill Gates is a lot of money. They got almost no economy. They'll just let you park their money, park your money for a very small fee. We call these international tax shelters or retirement havens. You don't even have to live there. You can just be a citizen, no problem.
You have dual citizenship then?
Me personally,
No, like.
I think there's a lot of ways to do that. You can have dual citizenship, or some people just have.
Not a citizen, then you're not a citizen of the United States, and that doesn't matter how much.
Some people have sole citizenship, meaning that they are just citizens there, but they manage their business or they manage their money from there, or they live here as immigrants on a work visa. And there's all sorts of stuff in between. You can take a wife there and then deposit your money in her account. There's all sorts of... I don't understand tax law very well. That's just... I know that's why they have so many people starting at the wealth age. Yeah?
Are you, I'm just wondering, are you no longer a citizen of Argentina?
It depends who you ask. When I became an American citizen, they made me sign a paper that says, I hereby resign all other citizenship. When you're a citizen of Argentina, you're not allowed to stop. So they're fighting over me. Yeah,
There's gonna be a mine, but
Yeah.
I believe that they show citizenship. I'm not really, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not attached to being right. I do know that what causes this extreme shape is low tax investment shelters, retirement havens. Jersey is not in the Bahamas. It's in the English Channel. That's where the European rich people go. Same concept. Little island, they got no economy. All they need is people to park money there, and they take a little bit off the top. Yeah.
Is that like an offshore account? Is that
That's an offshore account, precisely. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that illegal?
Kind of. Depends.
Why doesn't everyone do that then?
What?
Everyone does.
Everyone does. That's what they get this.
I don't know. It's a good question. Anybody else?
It's a lot of work to go be a citizen.
Anybody else? Thank you. Beat it. Now, group 7. Before you show them. Hold it down the middle.
Still see it.
Hold it down the middle.
You can still see through.
So that the other way, so that the graph shows out. Yeah, like that. Yep. You got it. And you're clear which side is the girls, right? Everybody in the audience, look! These are girls in group number 7. Show me girls. There's a little bulge on the male side. Rose before hose? Sausage fest?
What's always that bulges? What are you talking about?
Man cave? I got a kegerator in the basement. Come over. Football. Okay, you can open up to show the comparison. And audience, it is almost equally pronounced everywhere. Here, and there. Does anybody notice a funny pattern about the two flags on the right?
They look exactly the same.
White and red.
exactly the same? Yeah.
Red is more prominent.
Did you count the numbers of zigs and zags when you drew it?
I did. There's 10. I think mine had 6 or something.
See.
1, 2, 3.
Wait, on a different country?
I counted mine.
What countries are they?
They like cut the flag in half.
Yeah, I didn't count.
Nice idea.
Wait, what countries do you have?
Are they the same? Wait. Can you say that again? What are they?
Bahrain, Qatar.
Yeah.
I have never heard of any of these.
In case you're worried about the pronunciation, they are Oman, Bahrain, and Qatar.
Where are these countries?
Where are these countries?
Isn't the next World Cup going to be?
I mean,
Where are these countries, bro?
They're in the Middle East.
Of what? Boys, shut up!
They're next to Saudi Arabia, down next to the Indian Ocean and Africa.
In the which ocean?
Indian.
In what little...
The
They're in a
You'll be.
place that starts with a...
Peninsula.
These are Persian Gulf. Arab Emirates. Some of them are managed together. There's a little cluster of countries that all have like a shared governance. That's why those two have the same flag on the right. Anybody know what that area is known for?
oil.
Yes, oil. So can anybody imagine why there's so much sausage?
Workforce?
Because they're only men.
They're not going there to have babies. They're probably not having their babies there.
Immigrate.
Yeah. Yeah. This is an extreme immigrant workforce. Where the bulge is youngest, those are usually immigrants working in the oil fields. And where the bulge is oldest, those are petroleum executives. This is a male-dominated economy and a male-dominated business sector with tremendous potential for wealth. These countries have one of the highest dollars per capita because there's just not a lot of people, and if they're there, they're working in petroleum, and petroleum is big bucks. So people go there from Northeast Africa, from India, and from all color of Arab states. They start young, they work their way up, they make their millions, and then they go back home to start a family later. Isn't that neat? Isn't that a unique demographic trend there?
Unique or neat?
Neat and unique. Fine. Okay, children. Now you might want some notes because I got some slides to show you. Beat it. Good job, kids.
Well, it's not pretty neat to look at.
Thank you, everybody, for doing such a good job with your age structures.
Yay!
I was gonna do the line paper, and then I found these guys for.
Hey, am I the only dork that finds this interesting?
No. You're not.
Yeah, that's future president.
Well, you're future president? I'm after you. Maybe.
Jose, you might want to specify on the assignment sheet that it has to be a specific size of graph paper.
What?
You might want to specify on the assignment sheet that it has to be a specific size of graph paper. Because it just says graph paper.
Well, he handed it
I
out.
handed it out to everybody.
Oh, I wasn't here that day. Yeah.
Do you have any?
All right.
You probably have these notes already, but I want to make sure that we're starting from here. You'll notice those look exactly like these, or hopefully kind of like these. Because, like the ones on the board that you already saw, this is the basic demographic transition stuff. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Short lives, low survivorship in stage 1. Longer lives and better survivorship in stage 2. Declining birth rates with low death rates in stage 3. More people living to old age. And then if you look at stage 4, you get low birth and low death, longer life expectancy, and to introduce a new term, a high dependency ratio. Which means there's a lot of old people depending on a few young people. The dependency ratio.
Wait, dependence?
Is that a weird word?
No. Ratio. Wait, what?
You say ratio. Ratio.
But it kind of is pronounced ratio.
You're omitting the I. Sounds like for show, but it's for show.
There is a high dependency ratio.
Yeah.
People say that? Ratio?
Yeah. What?
I've never heard of it.
I've never even heard of ratio before.
We just learned this today. He's contemplating abortion.
He's like, why are you messing with me?
I'm trying to figure out who to kill now. You taught me all wrong, Dad.
Yeah, I know.
I want to move the slides, so I'm glad you already drew it.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have had to write any of it if you took your notes on number 45, which has been on the board for a week, so I'm moving on.
California.
Wow.
I think this is really neat. Because age structures, like, if you're interested in culture, it's all written there. Like, everything that happens in your society is written there. So, for example, let's look at California. It's cut off, but this is white on top. So those are whites, Hispanics, Asians, and blacks in California. Yeah. Yeah. No.
Actually, never mind.
So you'll notice, first of all, in case you didn't know it, newsflash, we don't have a lot of black people in California.
You should try Iowa.
And we don't have... Okay, well, I think that the least black state might actually be South Dakota. But
What?
the least black state is South Dakota.
It's like behind that.
It's by Canada.
I don't know. Can I move on?
No. This is critical.
I am being constantly derailed today. Here we go. Both the black and the Asian populations are not very big percentages of California life, and they're also relatively stable. Not much news there. But look at the distinction between the demographic trends of whites in this state compared to Hispanics in this state. Now, I'm sort of a strange chameleon. I have white skin, but I am Hispanic. And so I look at this sort of with a little bit of detachment. And I hope you don't mind if I just call it like I see it. You white people are getting old and disappearing. We Hispanic people are, quote unquote, taking over. And you can call that good or bad depending on your racism, but it is a clear fact. There's some really interesting interpretations to this trend. And by the way, this reflects largely a national trend. We'll come back to that. Why do baby booms have echoes, by the way?
Does they have kids? Or?
Why do they have?
Because all those kids have kids, and then
Yeah, kids.
all those
Yeah,
kids have
because
kids.
those kids have kids. The baby boomers, they're just more people. So when they start making babies, they're going to make more babies than a smaller generation on either side.
Are we back?
Look, I'm right here. You are right there. Everybody talks about how one president or another has ruined the economy and how it's really hard to get a job. But if we just remove presidential blame from this, there's just more people looking for jobs than there have been in the previous. Like, we got to squeeze more people into the labor force. It's a plain old participation question. Whether you blame Bush or Obama or both or neither, there's a really simple mathematical issue. Today, we have a giant workforce, the echo of the baby boomers, squeezing into an economy that 20 years ago accommodated the gap between the boomers and the echo. So there's your making of the baby boom at the bottom. Probably started when the boys came home from World War II, but you know, it takes a little while for the pregnancy to yield a baby and for some of the players in the game to quit playing and start laying or whatever. It takes a little while to like make the families happen. By 1960, we had the real, 1960 was the real peak of the baby boom. So look at the 1980s. When all those fools are either in college or in the workforce, wow, that's a young economy. Look at 1980 on the right. You can imagine what happens in the economy if you can get all these people to work. And in the 1980s, we did. We had an extremely aggressive, risk-taking, volatile stock market. Growing economy, cocaine and disco. It's interesting, you know, people write books about how musical trends reflect cultural trends. And 1980s, demographic, how music reflects demography. And 1980s, with all those extra people like entering the workforce and the economy just like blowing up, disco. Work all day, dance all night. The year 2000, right after you were born? Right after you were born? You're all born 98, 99 here?
Yeah,
97.
97?
2002.
I was already in college. That's such a crazy thought.
You're old.
I'm old enough to be your father.
Awesome.
That's weird. Okay. Right there, baby boom. Here you've got the baby boomers maturing. Around the time that you were born, baby boomers started thinking about retirement. The echo of the baby boom started entering the workforce. And right around there, that's when you've got the most competition in the workforce. That's right around the time that the wheels start to fall off the economy. Because you got all these older people trying to hold on to all of their economic prosperity and all these youngsters trying to wedge into it. And around the time that you were born, that was the beginning of the end of America's economy. That's when things started to slip away from the president at the time. And that's why everybody talks about the job loss. It's basically, this is the beginning of the job loss right here. Yeah?
Why has there been resurgence?
What?
Why has there been like resurgence recently?
Well, some people argue that it's not much of a resurgence. And you could imagine it's probably also because a lot of these guys are dropping out of the workforce, theoretically opening up spots for these guys to enter the workforce. So we're basically 5 years shy of this. In 5 years, you all are going to be getting out of college, and that'll be your country. The highest dependency ratio in a very long time. The echo of the baby boomers is going to have squeezed into most of the entry-level jobs. The baby boomers will all be retiring, and you are going to be struggling to find an entry-level job, so you got to go to college. And you're going to have to pay a lot of taxes when you get there, so you better be smart about your money.
You're making me so excited.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Then they'll die, bro.
Oh, that's true.
So check this out. 3 age structures piled on top of each other in different colors. Light is 1982. Medium is 1995, when I was roughly your age. And black is 2030, the color you'll be when you start to breed on average. Starkly different economies, right? Look at the number of dependents, like the dependency ratio. When I came to the United States in 1985, so there was very little dependency and a lot of people in the workforce when I came here. Rapidly growing economy. My dad got his foot in the door and just took off. Look at 2030 when you all are definitely out of college and buying a house and stuff. Man, a lot of dependence. Here's that Latino versus non-Latino thing. If this was a country, you would say, wow, that's a really promising economy. If this is a country, that's like the United States in the 1980s. If that's a country, wow. Growing economy, growing demographics, a lot of hope and potential. And if that was a country, you'd be like, oh, that's looking grim. Retirees, declining numbers, high dependency ratio. What does this mean for our immigration debate?
That we kind of need the immigration to like sustain.
That's an opinion, but as an interpretation, think of how this informs the two parties. Pragmatically, you might say, yeah, we need immigration, right? As a pragmatic issue. Like nationwide, if this is all happening in one country, right? When you talk to like a young political Latino,
That should be like a.
That's a bit of a great
And
word.
there's the first Mexican president.
Yeah, first Mexican president. Latino. But if you talk to a young Latino politician, she or he is excited, optimistic, stoked. If you talk to an angry white guy, he's bitter, protectionist, frightened. I honestly believe that this is the racial and political background to the immigration debate. These two demographics hashing out their vision for America's future. I think that helps you find a good, smart middle road, by the way. AIDS. The year 2000 on top, the year 2020 at the bottom. Look in red, the AIDS deficit for Botswana. That's AIDS death. Red is AIDS death in Botswana.
How do so many babies between 0 and 4 die from AIDS? Does their mothers have it?
Yeah, they're infected at birth. And before this bell rings, I've got to talk about one more. The brown is Aborigines, the blue is whites living in the same country. Look at the difference in survivorship and birth rates and death rates. Aborigines are like the least developed nation in Australia, where whites are the most developed nation in Australia.